Tellers, if you would please come forward and take account. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would hold your cards up high. Raise your cards up high. Any non-voters should be in the section to my left. Make sure you hold those cards up to be counted. Wait until the tellers tell you that they have finished your row. Do not put your cards down until they have counted you. And as a reminder, when you leave, if you could turn your cards back into the tellers, they would appreciate it. We need 100 voters to open the meeting. We can act on any articles that don't require spending over $5,000. We need 150 to act on any articles that require expenditure over $5,000. On my right, Section 1.
Section 132, 32.
Section 132. Section 2.
11.
Section 2, 11. Section 3.
61.
61, 61. Section 4.
35, 35.
35. We have 139 voters in the auditorium. We have a quorum to open the meeting. I declare that a quorum is present, and I will call the meeting to order. I will ask the clerk to read the posting of the warrant.
Thank you. Good evening. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Plymouth SS, to either of the constables of the town of Wareham, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the legal voters of the town qualified to vote in town affairs to meet in the Wareham High School Auditorium, Viking Drive, Wareham, Mass. On Monday, May 21st, 2012, at 7:30 p.m. to act on the following articles.
I will waive the reading of the articles.
Okay. Given under our hands this 17th day of April in the year 2012, Wareham Board of Selectmen.
Thank you. Well, I don't see a flag, so I guess we can't do the pledge to the flag. There's no flag. We could let's all stand and pledge the flag, even though we don't have one.
The flag is in our hearts.
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Is there anybody here for the first time that's never been to town meeting? Okay. I was going to try to go briefly over the rules that we have for town meetings since we had just finished with our annual. I'll try to keep it brief. The town meeting has certain rules that it must follow, and we follow the rules of Robert's Rules of Order, town meeting time, town meeting tradition, and those rules set forth by the moderator. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 39, Section 15, in a vote of town meeting on November 21st, 2003, whenever a two-thirds vote is required by statute, that vote may be declared by the moderator without account and be recorded by the clerk upon such declaration. However, if 7 or more voters question the count, then a counted vote will be taken. The warrant that you have before you is the agenda for town meeting, and town meeting does not come to an end until all of the agenda items on the warrant have been decided. I will first ask for a motion and ask for a second, and then I will ask the proponent to speak. Generally, it has been tradition that the proponent will have 5 minutes and all others will have 2 minutes to speak. I will entertain a motion that we will keep that tradition for the purposes of this meeting as well. Do I have a second? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Thank you. It has passed. What you see before you on the screen is the motion that you will be acting on, which is not always necessarily exactly as you have in the warrant. So be sure to look up at the screen because that's what we will be acting on. Once we have an article before us, debate will be open. I will ask that you come to the microphones on either side of the room. I ask that you only have 2 people at the microphone, and that's to keep the aisles clean and free. I would ask that you be respectful to anyone that's speaking. If you wish to make an amendment, you do need to make the amendment in writing, and I do have some paper for you if you need that. Reconsideration, based on town meeting tradition, reconsideration may only be moved on the same day that the vote on the article that you want to reconsider is taken. It must be made by a member who voted with the prevailing side. It must be seconded, it's debatable, and it will only be permitted if there was hasty, ill-advised, erroneous action, if there is additional information that was not previously available, or if there is a changed situation that developed since taking the vote. Now, I want to make sure that all non-voters are down here to my left. When you enter and exit the hall, if you would please use the doorway on my left, and that's to preserve the integrity of the meeting so that we know you have been checked in. Please do not use the door to my right or the door in the rear. In the event of an emergency, if you do have to leave, you're welcome to use those exit doors, but please come back in by the one on my left. As far as the photo policy, you must tell me beforehand that you're taking photos. We do have one photographer from the press here tonight. Photos are not allowed during the vote count. There is no smoking on school property. That is a state law. I remind you of that so that those of you who want to go out and smoke and feel you need to, you have to leave the school property. Please turn off your cell phones. There is no food or drink allowed. And one more announcement I would like to make. We're at the time of the year when we're appointing boards, committees, and commissions. There are many openings available. I would hope that you would, if you have an interest, that you would go online and fill out an application. And the appointments will be coming up. The Board of Selectmen is going through interviews. The legislative body, which is the town moderator, chairman of the FinCom, and chairman of the Board of Selectmen, will be having interviews somewhere around the first or second week in June for those committees that come as a result of town meeting. Article 2, Section 2.6 of the Town Charter states that all department heads shall attend the sessions of each town meeting for the purpose of providing the town meeting with information pertinent to warrant articles. I will now call for a roll call of the department heads, and before I do that, I would like to introduce our newest member to our town accountant, Brian Kudish. Brian, we'd like to welcome you aboard. And I would like to introduce our newest selectman, Mr. Peter Teitelbaum. And we have a new member of our Finance Committee, Mr. Tom Worthen. Welcome all. And now I will call for the department heads: Board of Health, Chief Assessor, Community Development, Conservation, Council on Aging, Data Processing, EMS, Inspectional Services, Municipal Maintenance, Planning, Police, Shellfish, Harbor Master, Town Accountant, Town Clerk, Town Collector, Library, Water Pollution Control, and School Department. Ladies and gentlemen, we do take our articles by a lottery system. Because we do not have 150 at the moment, We do have the ability to act on, I believe, 3 articles, 3 very short articles. And the first one I'm going to take up, we have the prerogative to take a consent agenda. For those of you that are new to town meeting, when you have articles that are similar in nature that generally would not spur debate or any questions, we can take them all together and act on them as one. Now, I will read the articles that I would like to put into a consent agenda. They are all collective bargaining articles that were put on the agenda as placeholders. These agreements have not been reached, and therefore no action can be taken on them. So it's Article 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And the motion on these would be for indefinite postponement or to pass over. May I have a motion on my right? For what reason do you rise?
Madam Moderator, I counted more than 12 people that came in after the official count, so I believe we're over 150 people.
I will take account after we go through this. Thank you very much. So I have a motion for the consent agenda for Articles 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14, and 15. On my right?
Madam Moderator, I move to pass over these articles.
Have a second? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. We have just done 9 articles, which leaves us 8 to do. Let me have my tellers come forward. Let's try taking another quorum count, and if we have 150 people, then we can go into our lottery system. Please hold your cards up high. Section 1.
Section 133.
Section 133. Section 2.
16.
Section 2, 16. Section 3.
68. 68.
68. Section 3. Section 4.
36, 36.
Section 4, 30. What was it? We have 153 voters in the hall. We can move forward with all of our 8 articles that are remaining. Madam Clerk, if you would please pull our first article.
Yeah.
Article 4.
Madam Moderator, I move to transfer the sum of $5,300. Is that better?
It's not on.
If we had sign language, I wouldn't have to do this. I move to transfer the sum of $5,334 from the amount appropriated under Article 30 at the 2010 annual Fall Town Meeting to fund the library employees' contract.
Second.
I have a second. To speak to Article 4?
This is simply to fund the collective bargaining agreement. It will run through June 30th, 2011. It's from June 30th, 2007, going through June 30th, 2011. The amount is $5,334, and it's for the library.
Thank you. Is there anything further to be said? Seeing no one standing, I will now call for a vote on Article 4. It requires a majority vote, and the article before you is to transfer the sum of $5,334 appropriated under Article 30 at the annual town meeting to fund the library employees contract. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Madam Clerk? Article 16. Article 16 is a petitioned article. If the petitioner would please come forward and read the motion. Mr. Robinson?
Madam Moderator, Howard Robertson. With the board's permission, I would like to introduce Lauren Liss, who would like to give a presentation on this article.
Okay, I would need a motion to put before the body to allow Ms. List, who is your representative, to speak on your behalf. Just, if you would just read the motion, and then we can ask for courtesy of the floor. So if you want to just read the motion first.
Sure. I move that the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen and/or the town roadway commissioners, as applicable, to accept a gift, deed, or easement of approximately 8,500 square feet of right-of-way, and as further shown on the plan on file in the office of the town clerk over certain property located at 4 Seth Toby Road and 2419 Cranberry Highway, currently owned by Bayside Agricultural Incorporated, subject to the limitation that the right-of-way be used for the roadway purposes and only in connection with proposed improvements to Toby Road and Cranberry Highway, as are approved and are on file by the Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals.
Thank you. I have a second. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Robertson would like to offer his 5 minutes to Ms. Liss, who is his representative. She is not a resident of this town. I would entertain a motion to allow her to speak. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Ms. Liss?
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator, and thank you very much for permitting me to speak this evening on behalf of Article 16. My name is Lauren Liss. I'm an attorney from Rubin and Rudman, and I also represent Bayside Agricultural, Inc. and the Beatons, who own property in the town of Wareham at the intersection of Toby Road and Cranberry Highway. I'd like to briefly speak on the purpose of Article 16, and then if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them. I think we're ready for the first slide. As I said, I represent Bayside Agricultural, Inc. and the Beatons, who own about a 9-acre parcel of land on the corner of Toby Road and Cranberry Highway. For those of you in the auditorium, it's to the left side of the screen, to the south side of Toby Road. Mr. Robertson and his family own a parcel across the street from the Bayside parcel, approximately 26 acres, I believe, and there's currently a retail development proposal for that property, including certain traffic improvements and highway improvements related to the increased traffic that that project is likely to have. Bayside is not opposed at all to the retail development, but at least as initially envisioned by the developer, we did have some concerns with the traffic improvement plan. And briefly on the next slide, those are listed. The traffic coming off of Toby Road, taking a left turn to go north on Cranberry Highway, is a little bit tight and might cause some issues. There may also be traffic stacking on Toby Road itself, particularly because of the location of the Bayside, the current Bayside driveway, which is quite close to the intersection of Toby Road and Cranberry Highway. There's also an existing traffic issue at the intersection, which is that Toby Road and Tow Road across the street, which is sort of that swooping little street, don't align properly, which also causes some problems currently. And again, at least as initially designed, the access to the Bayside property was really blocked for the left turn into the property on Toby Road, and also the left turn out of the property on Toby Road. Fortunately, we were able to work with the developer to come up what we think is an improved plan for the traffic and intersection issues that I've just listed. And that's on the next slide. And as you can see, really at the crux of this is a significant widening of Toby Road along the intersection closest to Cranberry Highway. And there are really several improvements and benefits that this will have, which I've listed on the next slide. As you can see, it widens Toby Road, which will accommodate increased traffic flow. It actually will add an additional entire lane to that length of Toby Road. We've also agreed to move the Bayside driveway down from being close to the intersection of Toby Road and Cranberry Highway down further, I guess it's south, so that the stacking issues will be eliminated. Because the roadway will be widened, it also provides better turning radiuses and turning movements for particularly large trucks that are heading, again, out of Toby Road, heading north onto Cranberry Highway. And again, because Bayside has agreed to move the driveway down, it does maintain, if not improve, access to the property. Next slide. As I said, the crux of this improved plan involves the widening of Toby Road, and in order to achieve that, we will need to and are happy to give an easement to the town of Wareham to use that portion of the property for highway purposes. It's about an 8,500 square foot portion, and on the slide, it is shown in hatch marked.
You have about 1 minute.
Okay, I think I only have 2 more slides, or one. Again, the benefit of this easement, in addition to the benefits to the town and the property owners that I talked about previously, Bayside is willing to donate the easement to the town, so it's free of charge. The improvements on the right-of-way on this easement would then be made as part of the retail project, so again, at no cost to the town. We have presented this improved plan to both the planning board and the zoning board in their various hearings on the retail project, and they have been supportive of this. In order to, I guess that was my last slide, sorry, Matt. In order to achieve these improvements and grant the easement to the town, we do need a town meeting vote, and that's why we're here tonight presenting Article 16, which would authorize the Board of Selectmen to accept that easement for right-of-way purposes. And with that, I will turn it back to...
Thank you. Thank you. May I have the vote of the Board of Selectmen, please?
Madam Moderator, the Board of Selectmen voted favorable action 4-0-0.
Thank you. May I have the vote and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Madam Chairman, the Finance Committee voted 5-0 and 1 abstention.
Thank you. Is there anything to be said on Article 16? Seeing no one at the microphone, I will now call for a vote on Article 16. It requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Madam Clerk? Thank you. Article 17. Article 17 is a petitioner's article. If the petitioner would present the motion.
Madam Moderator, Bob Russo, do you want me to move the article first with a second?
I need a motion from you.
Okay. The motion and article is the last page in your warrant. The motion would be to determine whether the town will vote to add a registered voter requirement of 1 year for elected officers or to do or act in any manner relative thereto. And I have a second.
I second the motion. Mary Nyman, Precinct 3.
Mr. Mr. Bristow, I believe that your motion is what's before you on the screen so that it fits into the town charter since this is a charter change?
Yes, it does.
Would you like to withdraw the motion that you made and read the motion that's before you, that it's comprehensive, that it would fit into the charter?
Certainly. I was reading with the warrant, okay? So it is actually, that's what I did have here. It is to amend Section 3(1)B of the Town Charter, eligibility, to remove the words, "Any voter shall be eligible to hold any elective office," and insert the words, "Any inhabitant of the town of Wareham, having been a registered voter in the town of Wareham for at least 1 year immediately preceding the day of the elections, shall be eligible to become a candidate for an elective office." The rest of that just explains that language. You want me to read that also, Madam
Yes,
Moderator?
please.
Okay. Notwithstanding the above provision, however, 1, the name of any person nominated for election to the elected office who will be able to comply with the above requirements by the day of the election may appear on the ballot at that election as a candidate for the office. 2, a person who cannot meet the above requirements by the day of the election shall not be determined eligible for nomination to the election to the office and therefore may not appear on the ballot as a candidate for the office.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Yes, Mary Nyman, Precinct 3. I second the motion.
Thank you. To speak to the article, Mr. Bristow, you have 5 minutes.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Moderator, and ladies and gentlemen. This is an article which I feel is very significant, I think, for the functioning of good government in the town of Wareham. We certainly want elected officials, be they selectmen, assessors, school committee members, moderator, town clerk, any elected official, to have a working knowledge of the government of the town, the issues, as well as a knowledge of the culture, the problems that we are facing. And myself, and I know the 113 people who signed this petition, feel that having this kind of a restriction is not a hardship on anyone. I've heard one criticism that this was going to be a residency requirement. This has nothing to do with residency. We do not use residency in the town of Wareham. It has nothing to do with the resident. It has to do with the fact that are you an elected voter in the town of Wareham 1 year prior to the election? If you recall that any registered voter can run for an office, but even this year, if I recall correctly, that if you had not pulled your nomination papers by February 13th, you could not run for office because there is a restriction. Those papers must have been pulled by the 13th and returned on the 15th in order to register to vote. Also, anybody who is not a registered voter so many days before the election. I know the town clerk would probably correct me. I believe this year it was April 13th. It's so many days before. It was March 13th, I believe. They could not run for office on April the 3rd. So we're not disenfranchising anybody here. Anybody who's a registered voter can run for office. I heard people tell me, well, supposing somebody has lived in this town for 25 or 30 years, they're residents, but they have never registered to vote in the town of office, and all of a sudden they see religion and they'd like to run for an elective office. Well, if they've lived in this town for 25 years and they've never exercised their right to register to vote in this town, I say shame on them. But this is a responsibility and a duty of citizenship. And all this is doing is adding another duty of citizenship. If you want to run for an elected office, you must be a registered voter 1 year prior to that election, which in this election this year, if you were running on April the 3rd, you would have had to have been registered by April the 3rd of the year 2011. And I would ask the audience to consider this. If this is voted favorably, I understand in talking to town council that this would have to go to the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for a review on the legalities before it comes back to the town. It would probably be a required vote of the town, I think, and probably a general election or an election to approve this. I ask for your support of this article. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have the vote of the Board of Selectmen, please?
Madam Chair, the Board of Selectmen voted favorable action, 3 in favor, 1 opposed, and no abstentions.
Thank you. May I have the vote and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends favorable action on this article by a vote of 4 in the affirmative, 2 against, no abstentions.
Thank you. Is there anything to be said on Article 17 on my left?
Good evening. My name is Manfred Wiegand, Precinct 1. It's actually the first time I'm speaking in the town meeting, which has also something to do with the fact that I only became a citizen in 2006. At that point of time, sorry. At that point of time, I had been residing in this town for 14 years. I've been an attorney. I'm a person with 3 graduate and 1 PhD. So I'm certainly probably qualified to run for office. If we agreed to this motion or to this new rule in town, if I had naturalized, I wouldn't have been eligible for elected office for 1 year. I appreciate very much the attentions of Bob and Mary, and I know them very well, and I appreciate them as persons too. But I think we should look what the consequence of this would be. The other issue, the other people who would be affected were young people. So you turn 18, you register to vote, you cannot run for office for 1 year, even if you are engaged. I'm not sure if our new deputy town moderator was how old he was, but maybe he wouldn't have been able to run, a person that was clearly elected by the voters in the town. The third, and to show you a very abstruse thing, imagine Bill Clinton and George Bush would move to Wareham. They would not be able to run for elected office. For what reason? Okay, but that you can decide in the election if you want them. But are they disqualified? Are they really disqualified? So what I have a little bit objection against all articles that basically where an electorate of today prescribes for an electorate of tomorrow what they should and could do. Let the electorate of the town be the judge if those people are qualified, and don't disenfranchise them. And it's a disenfranchisement, as I have clearly pointed out. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anything further to be said on Article 17? Seeing no one standing, I will call for the vote. This is a change to our charter. It does require a 2/3 vote. I will try for a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. It's close. I am going to ask for a count because this does go to the Attorney General. I want to be absolutely sure, and the moderator is in doubt. If the tellers would please come forward, and everyone in favor, please hold your cards up high to be counted. Section 1.
Section 126.
Section 126. Section 2.
18.
Section 2, 18. Section 3.
62.
Section 3, 62. Section 4.
15, 15.
Section 4, 15. All those opposed, please hold your cards up high to be counted. Section 1.
Section 17.
Section 117, Section 2.
8.
I'm sorry, repeat that again, 8?
8.
8, Section 2, 8, Section 3.
15.
15, Section 3, Section 4.
20. 20.
Section 4, 20. We have 121 in the affirmative, 50 in the negative. Article 17 passes by a 2/3. Madam Clerk? Article 1. May I have a motion on Article 1?
I move that the town vote to accept the award made by the Joint Labor Management Committee between the Town of Wareham and the Wareham Police Union, JLMC 09-46P, dated December 2nd, 2011, and further, to take the amount of $211,000 to fund the award from certified free cash.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second. To speak to the article? Mr. Sullivan?
This article is to fund the police award from the period of 2007 through June 30th, 2011. The amount that we have in there is $211,000. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have the vote of the Board of Selectmen?
Madam Moderator, the Board of Selectmen voted favorable action, 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and 0 abstained.
May I have the vote and the recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee voted favorable action, 6-0-0.
Thank you. To speak to the article on my left?
Margaret Ishihara, Precinct 3. I just had a quick question. I'm not opposed to funding the contract. The $211,000 from certified free cash, is that actually coming from one of those reserve articles that we did in the past, or do we now have certified free cash?
To answer the question?
We have certified free cash by the DOR. The amount was approximately $307,000.
So now it would be 307 less the 211, is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything further to be said on Article 1? If not, I will call for the vote. This requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Article 2. May I have a motion on Article 2? Ladies and gentlemen, does everyone have a handout that was available outside the hall as you came in? Article 2.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to transfer and appropriate the amounts as stated in the following chart for any purpose for which funds may be expended from the latter accounts, each being considered a separate appropriation for FY12.
Thank you. May I have a second? I have a second. To speak to Article 2, Mr. Sullivan?
These are for FY12 interdepartmental transfers. These are not extra appropriations. So in other words, we're taking from one department to move it to another within the FY12 fiscal year.
Thank you. Is there anything further to be said on Article 2? Did I ask for the vote of the Board of Selectmen? We have a brain lapse here. May I have the vote of the Board of Selectmen?
The Board of Selectmen voted favorable action, 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and 0 abstained.
Thank you. And the vote and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee voted 6 in favor, 0 against, and 0 abstention.
Thank you. Anything to be said on Article 2 on my right?
Yes, Sandy Slavin, Precinct 3. For what purpose have we overspent in the two categories? Is that why the funds have to be transferred?
To answer the question?
On all of them?
The town accountant regular salary is being moved to the Finance Committee Reserve Fund, not because not because the reserve fund was overspent, but it was basically a loan. When we hired the accounting services of BMAG, you could not pay them out of the salary line of the accountant. You had to pay them out of professional services. The accounting department would not have had enough money in professional services, so we had a finance committee, a reserve fund transfer of $55,000 into the accounting services line, and then this is simply transferring that money back in.
Thank you. Anything further to be said? I see no one standing. Mr. Heath, am I right?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. The only thing I would like to do on this set of transfers is make it clear to everyone. According to state law, only the town committee can really move amounts in excess of $5,000, whether it's a percentage of individual departments. Other than that, we would be in violation of state law. These come up as you make your budget, you put things together. You can't hit it 100% right, but as you go through the course of the year, you see the adjustments. If we make the adjustments at the Finance and the Board of Selectmen level, we get a citation from the Department of Revenue. If we do it here at town meeting, all right, first you get a chance to review it, and second, we're in compliance with the law.
Thank you. Anything further to be said on my right?
I'm sorry, Sandy Slavin. I thought I wanted an explanation for every one of them. Are we voting on them each line item independently or as a total?
No, we're voting them on as a total. It's
Then
total transfers.
I'd like an explanation as to why we're transferring for every one of those on the screen, please.
To answer the question?
A2 is to A2 is to move money into the town accountant professional services. That is for the rest of the BMAG contract. A3 is to fund the treasurer collector tax title. That is to actually put extra money in there so that we can bring more money in through the tax title process. A4 is to put money into the audit. This year we had a mid-year audit, part of creating financial stability, and that also includes the extra 2010-2011 work done by our independent auditors. For number one is A5 is the dispatcher uniforms. A6 is for the matron coverage for professional services for the police. They are when you have female prisoners, they are the ones that you legally need to guard them. For A7, that would be the repairs, the emergency repairs to the police station stairs. For A8, the police expenses were extra expenses during the hurricane or tropical storm Irene, for which the police has not yet been reimbursed through FEMA. A9 is for the rising fuel costs, the extra fuel costs this year. A10 is for extra money in the workers' compensation line. And B1 is for a transfer from the parking meter fund to the police, who are the ones that maintain the parking program there.
Thank you. Anything further on Article 2? Seeing no one standing, I will now call for the vote. It requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Article 10. May I have a motion on Article 10?
I move to turn this on. I move to transfer the sum of $13,500 from the amount appropriated under Article 30 at the 2010 annual fall meeting to fund the collective bargaining agreement between the town of Wareham and the United Steelworkers, AFL-CIO, CLC, Local Union 13507, Unit 4, Lower Managers Union.
May I have a second? To speak to Article 10?
Madam Moderator, the Board of Selectmen in the printed article did not have the completed agreement. However, we did vote last night in favor of the contract 500.
Thank you. May I have the vote and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee did not have the information in time to vote on this.
Thank you. Is there anything further to be said on Article 10? If not, I will call for a vote. It requires a majority vote. Article 10 is before you as on the screen to transfer the sum of $13,500 appropriated under Article 30 of the 2010 annual fall town meeting to fund the collective bargaining agreement. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Article 3. May I have a motion?
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to transfer the sum of $19,900 from the fiscal 2012 budget of the Reserve Fund to an account to be named Police Vehicle Replacement within the general operating budget and to be used for the purpose of replacing the police pickup truck damaged in FY 2012.
Thank you. Have a second. To speak to Article 3?
This article is to replace the police pickup this year. Through no fault of our employee driving, our police pickup was struck and deemed a total loss. We received a $9,000 settlement on it from our insurance company. This is to fund the rest of the cost of a new police pickup as well as the equipment needed to go along with it. So it'd be $19,900.
Thank you. May I have a vote of the Board of Selectmen?
Madam Moderator, the Board of Selectmen voted favorable action, 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and 0 abstentions.
Thank you. May I have the vote and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee voted favorable actions, 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions.
Thank you. Is there anything further to be said on Article 3? Seeing no one at the microphones, I will now call for a vote. This requires a majority vote. You're voting on Article 3, that the town transfer the sum of $19,900 from the fiscal 2012 budget of the Reserve Fund to an account to be named Police Vehicle Replacement. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Article 11. May I have a motion?
I move that the town vote to transfer from certified free cash the sum of $21,000 to fund the collective bargaining agreement between the town of Wareham and the United Steelworkers, AFL-CIO, CLC, Local Union 13507, Unit 4, Upper Managers Union.
Thank you. May I have a second? I have a second. To speak to Article 11?
This is to fund the collective bargaining agreement between the Upper Management Steelworkers Union in the amount of $21,000.
Thank you. Is there anything? May I have the vote of the Board of Selectmen?
Madam Chair, this is similar to the last contract. At the time the warrant was printed, we didn't have a settled agreement. However, last night during our meeting, we did vote 500 to approve the contract. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have the vote and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee voted 0, 0, 6 abstentions.
Thank you. Is there anything to be said on Article 11? Seeing no one standing, this requires a majority vote. Article 11 is before you, that the town vote to transfer from certified free cash the sum of $21,000 to fund the collective bargaining agreement. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? It passes by a majority. I believe that's the last. Ladies and gentlemen, we have completed all of the articles.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to dissolve the meeting.
Motion to dissolve the meeting.
Have a second? All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much for coming out. These were important articles, and I'm sure that we all support your efforts. Thank you.